Good morning, Los Angeles Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Melissa Lewis, and I'm honored to be your guest musician this morning. I woke up this morning feeling great, and I want to share this opening number with you. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I was walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. I was walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. I was walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
And Ale, hallelujah. As Tyler Perry and Medea would say, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, what a great way to start our morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Melissa Lewis.
Morning to you, my love. So great to see you.
So great to see you and so great to be with you in this virtual space known as our Sunday celebration service. And I love to appreciate in these virtual rooms the art over my wall and the art on your wall over my shoulder and over your shoulder.
Yes.
And I always love seeing the spoke of the wheel of the bicycle rolling up the.
Wait to the end. You're going to get the whole thing when I play the piano.
I love it, but it speaks volumes as to us being open to movement, right?
Right. There you go. I love it. Never thought of it.
Moving on. That's right. Moving on up. Moving on up. Moving on up the wall to the heavens. Well, so good to see you. I love sharing this time and space with you, and I know you have lots of beautiful music and inspiration to share with us later, so I look forward to that happening.
Absolutely. Me too. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, my love. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or hello from wherever you may be. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and welcome to our Sunday morning celebration service in this virtual space as Melissa welcomed us in. And I welcome you in affirming and declaring for each and every one of us that no matter where you are, physically or geographically on this planet, that in an existential evolutionary way of being, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, as I am in this very moment of the time-space continuum, allowing ourselves to awaken to the awareness that the only thing that there is divine energy. And this divine energy in all of its perfection and wholeness and completeness is expressing itself in all of its magnificence and glory by means of you and by means of me. And we come together in this space, whether it's live or at a later date watching it through the glorious means of technology, to remember who we are as divine beings and to awaken ourselves to our own spiritual magnificence as we continue, on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. So I welcome you and I honor you and I affirm, as I said before, that we're all exactly where we need to be and where we're supposed to be. I'm going to put onto the screen the opening graphics for today. And so we begin by knowing this, that love is happening through us and we're here to be love. I love to welcome us into this space through the act of namaste. Even though we're not face to face and heart to heart and hand to hand, feeling each other in a physical room. We have the ability through our imaginative qualities of mind to imagine what it would be like to be able to look into the eyes of each other, whether it's through those that are on YouTube or at a later date watching us through some other form or medium, and or if you're on Zoom today. We know that if we put our hands together in prayer position and take a deep breath in, and I invite you to do this along with him if it's safe for you, wherever you may be, to take a deep breath in, a cleansing breath they call it, and exhale, and look into the screen and look into my eyes as I imaginatively look into yours, and bend forward and say these words, Namaste. Let's do that again. Inhaling, one. Bringing in the breath of life, and exhaling, hands in prayer position, leaning forward. Hello to everyone, and Namaste. Namaste in its literal sense means I bow to thee. In the more modern day version, it's the God in me, the power in me, the life in me, honors and acknowledges that in you, and I welcome that as you honor it in me. As a community, we come together to welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We stand with you and want you to know that just as you are, you're indeed safe here, meaning that we honor you just as you are. We've used this graphic on the screen for many years now, and I just love looking at it in a new way each and every Sunday when it pops up, and seeing all these little expressions of spirit expressing themselves in all of their magnificence and different individualized expressions of the divine itself. And yet, as we teach here in this philosophy, faith, and way of life, there's only one life, and that we individualize that. My favorite Ernest Holmes quote is, Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. Let's hear that and feel it in a different way. Spirit, that ever-present energy of life itself, has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. So just as you are, let's affirm using our words aloud to say together, we welcome one and we welcome all. As a community, we've come together for 35 plus years now to teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. The science of mind is a collaborative nature, a collaborative compilation, if you will, primarily through the works of Ernest Holmes, bringing together what is considered the great teachings, the great spiritual teachings of the universe. And in this medium known as the science of mind, with the basic foundational principles that there's only one energy in the universe. It individualizes itself through you, through me. We also refer to this energy as God, Source, the thing itself, Buddha, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, and that we both experience it and express it through our mind, that it is a mental energy, that everything exists because of mind, uppercase M-I-N-D. We individualize that mind as Spirit has placed its stamp upon us. And we experience and express this power through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with the very thing itself. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, it responds to us by providing to us a corresponding experience in life. Many times we let our human nature look at that as good or bad. Spirit and the infinite nature of life and the law that responds to it is an impersonal activity of life, if you will. It just is. Therefore, there's good to that, uppercase G-O-D, which means that if we're not happy with what's going on, or if we would like to change, or whether we're aware or not of what's going on in our life, we can impact that through our thinking, through our beliefs, through our actions, through our reactions, interactions with life itself, and know that the law of life, just like the law of gravity, shall respond to us, through us, but never towards us, because it's an impersonal law. Our vision statement here as a community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. That spiritual awakening is an ongoing journey in life itself. In traditional terms, spiritual awakening is the remembrance that we are one with the sea of consciousness, the sea of life itself, that is forever moving and expanding and being itself. It's through that remembrance that we tune our mind into the alignment with the divine itself and the qualities that we're each imbued with as we continue on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We come together today in the name of love, the self-givingness of spirit, to remember who we are as beings of light, life, peace, beauty, power, wisdom, joy, and most importantly, love. And so we like to open our service or go to the next layer of opening our service with a ritual that's called calling in the light. Cue up the music. Calling in the light. In our teaching, light is one of the qualities of the divine. My acronym for light is living in God's healing truth. We don't necessarily prescribe to you what that healing truth is. We let you know that for yourself. But we do certainly provide guidelines. I invite us all to look at this orb on the screen today. For me personally, it represents the infinite nature of life, that which is indistinguishable, even though at times it may appear to go out. And let's hear these words. Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a more conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. I called those out just a moment ago, but we're going to address those in this part of our ritual. And so as we feel the vibrations shift during this experience, may we each become more ever aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life. All expressions of life. Which of course includes you and it includes me. I invite you again to begin to look into this orb of light. And let's let this illuminated candle represent the quality of peace. Believing that we virtually lit this candle, we do so honoring the inherent divine state of inner calm that exists within all of us, regardless of any chaos unfolding around or within us. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but we'll keep going. We also illuminate it for the quality of power. The power we acknowledge by the energy in which everything lives. We also light that candle for the quality of beauty, defined as a personal expression in which high spiritual qualities are made manifest. We also light it for the quality of joy, that inner state that is the impetus of the emotion that is excited by the expectancy of good, uppercase G, and synonym for God. We also light it for all forms of light, which is known as a symbol of universal intelligence. We also illuminate this candle and allow this flickering flame to be for the quality of life, which is defined as the animating principle of being, that inner something that makes everything live. And just as we see on the screen the word love, which is our theme for the month, we also allow this flickering flame to symbolize the quality of love, which is defined as the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself. I'd like for us to also just tune into this energy and to look at this flickering flame and know that we also light this candle or illuminate this virtual candle and define it as the healing candle. We typically ask that we silently put into this flame, the healing flame, anyone that we would like to have experienced the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. I love how this candle specifically turns to a heart. We used it last week as we honored the passing of our beloved Sherry Robb, one of our congregants. Today we have more to honor in their passing. This week, one of our beloveds, even though we haven't seen her for a while since COVID hurt her husband, but a longtime member of our community and one of the best friends of a longtime member and one of our board members, Charlene Painter, passed away this week. And we'd like to put her and her family and our beloved Sandy Rovetta into this flickering flame, knowing that she continues to carry on the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. And then I would like to put into this flickering flame my twin sister, Kathy Hughes, and her daughter, Callie Howell. They've been dealing with an unexplainable and mysterious and awful illness of their Callie's son, Kathy's grandson, and my great nephew, Woodson, who's been sick with a rare form of kidney cancer for 6 months and passed away last night. And so I invite all of us to look at this flame that's turning into a heart and then disappearing out into the ethers of the darkness. And remember that this light and this spirit does indeed not only provide the energy of life itself, but there's beauty in these transformations. And that we have joy in our heart because of what we've shared with each of these individuals. And to remember that as we feel the peace, the purposeful energy activating conscious evolution, we bring forth within us power and choose to know that life is everlasting because of the nature of the self-givingness of spirit, its desire to express itself. And so let's bathe each of these individuals and their families and their loved ones in this light, knowing that it's healing. And I'm going to read to you a poem, and let this poem be a reflection and a prayer for all of us that yesterday just opened kind of in my hands as I was processing Woody's station of transition, if you will. And it's a poem that's written by Maddie J. Stepanek, a beautiful being of light that lived on this earth to the age of 13 with muscular dystrophy, a really challenged physical life, watched his brother and sister pass away as well from this disease beforehand, and was a lauded and applauded poet, acknowledged by Jimmy Carter and the great Oprah Winfrey and many others. And he had an ability to provide in his childlike manner deep, deep, deep wisdom. Angel wings. And so as we send our beloveds off into the next dimension and trusting they will always stay with us as angels, let's hear these words. This morning I smelled something very good. Perhaps it was a rainbow, or maybe it was a dinosaur smile, or even a seashell. I'm not what I smelled, and I'm not sure what rainbows or dinosaur smiles or seashells smell like. But I'm sure they smell wonderful. Wonderful and special, like the smell of angel wings. But also I'm sure they smell a little sad, because we can't really smell a rainbow or a dinosaur smile or a seashell, or especially we can't really smell the wonderful smell of angel wings. Melissa's going to come on and take us through the song, Calling in the Light. It's a call and response song, and when we get to that part, the lyrics will be on the screen. I invite you to sing along where you are today, whether you've ever sung it before or not, and sing along as if you're singing for my sister and her daughter and their family, and Woody and Charlene Painter and Walter and their family, and Sandy and all who've made transition. But most importantly, let's sing it for ourselves so that we can remember to be gentle with ourselves as we navigate this journey of continuing to find personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening and letting the healing energy of the divine make itself known through us.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love. I am love. I am peace. I am peace. In my heart. In my heart. I am free. I am free. I am spirit. I am spirit. I am soul. I am soul. All together, all together, we are whole. We are whole. Oh, I am calling in the light. I am calling in the light. Calling in the light of love. I am calling in the light. I am calling in the light. I'm calling in the light of love. I am calling in the light of love. So it is. So it is. So
And so it is. I know.
it's tough getting through that one.
I know. Trust
Ooh,
me, I know. Trust me, I know.
sending you and your family so much love.
I know, as I shared with you earlier, trust me, I know you're saying like it was a long night,
Yeah.
um, a long night. Yeah, 3 hours of sleep. So it's been a long day.
Mm.
So. But the camera was interestingly zooming in on you, kind of by its nature. The
Yeah.
word that you have on your piano there kept popping up on your shoulder, miracles, or your
Yeah.
keyboard screen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and then the one over your right shoulder that says, "No, you're on the right path."
Yeah.
Right?
Good
So how
reminder.
interesting each of those pop in, right? Like that I truly believe. And I say this both as your minister and personally, right? I truly believe that is the how angel wings work,
Mm.
right? Like it's not some. I, I'll put it. That is how I believe it works. That there's messages sent to us. There's energy that we feel. There's when we tune in our awareness and our alignment to the divine. That whether it's those individuals or not that have passed on, but there is energy. Everything we teach that everything is energy anyway, right? And it's at a vibration, and if we tune into that vibration, then it's connecting us to that through its wisdom. Wisdom is one of the qualities of God, even though I didn't address that in the thing. The wisdom is being willing to tune into it and accept it without judgment when it shows up.
Right.
And if you look at a miracle and a course in miracle, a miracle and a course in miracle is the willingness to have a new perspective, right? To
Mm.
see things anew. That doesn't mean that necessarily the heavens open up. It means there's a word that says miracles that shows up and goes, oh yeah, I need to remember right now to be open to the miracle,
Right.
right? It's to be
Right.
open to it.
Yeah. It's crazy how like just stuff out of nowhere. It could be the craziest thing. Like, I drink tea all the time, and sometimes
Uh-huh.
I get the most perfect message on my tea bag from
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you for that reminder. It's like I needed that. Staying in that energy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then realizing not to be, airy fairy, gaudy gaudy, but yet I am being a mister. It's not from nowhere.
Right.
It's not from nowhere. It's exactly from where we want it to be.
Yeah.
Right. And that is that's we teach that to let your intuition tune into the divine, that it's always communicating to you. Right. It's just that it's important for us to not hang on to an anthropomorphic God, thinking
Right.
that it has to show up by the skies opening up and a lightning bolt coming down. Right.
Yeah.
I was saying to a loved one this week about when my great nephew was sick, and a loved one was hanging on to an old school idea of what healing could look like.
Mm.
And I said, I want to caution you to not look at this and relate it to a miracle like the walking on the water situation, because I'm not sure that actually even really happened. So let's open ourselves up to it. How different can this look
Right.
that's also miraculous and you're not attached to the outcome, that you don't define the outcome, right?
Yeah.
Trust that the outcome is unfolding the way it would. And then last night they were sharing some of how this unfolded, and it was exactly that. I'm not saying it because I said it. It was like once you
Yeah.
shift and open, then the beauty that can show up is so it's almost beyond comprehension, and yet you know why it's happening, right? It's
Yeah.
that.
Uh,
It's the rhythm. I sometimes say the rhythm. It's the rhythm of creation, as if it's kind of like the rhythm of the night, you know.
right. Right. Oh, goodness gracious.
So you've chosen a song for us now that is one that's new for us, I
And
believe.
I know
Correct?
it's crazy. I do preschool music with kids, and when I do this with them, I have them sign, and then I always do a verse of it without them singing, and I go, just try and think the words in your head and sign it, and it's the most awesome thing to have 25-year-olds sitting there signing this song. It's so beautiful. I love doing
I
it.
love it. Go how appropriate, so we can honor little Woody at 2 years old that passed away yesterday. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
All right. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean in my soul. And I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got love like the ocean. I've got joy like a fountain, and no one can take that away. 'Cause I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Like a river.
How lovely! How very, very lovely. I got peace like a river in my soul.
Mm.
That brings comfort just knowing that it's peace in the traditional sense, that state of inner calm, Holmes says, right? But then also to look at it through my acronym of peace, of purposeful energy activates conscious evolution.
Love it.
Yeah, good. All right, see you in a bit.
Okay.
Thank you. So, as I said just a moment ago about energy, energy begets energy, a great Albert Einstein quote. I'd like to begin this morning by my message with reading a quote from Daniel Goldsmith about energy. He writes, all energy is contagious. If we can infect each other with fear, hatred, and violence, then shouldn't we presumably be able to do the same with love, generosity, and patience? I wanted to open with this quote this morning to remind us of how we ended last week in looking at the concept of love and begetting love and magnifying love and magnetizing love, of the quote of what you seek is seeking you. That is a metaphysical approach to the same thing of all energy is contagious, meaning it's multiplying out of itself. And so today, and as we wrap up this month of the theme, Love is Happening Through Me, I invite you to remember the power that we each have within us to utilize to tune the energy of our life in a way that we desire to have it be to the best of our ability. And even when there's stuff going on out in the world, and stuff that seems to be happening at us, I don't know necessarily to us, but certainly this has been 9 days in my life and many of yours as well, separate from what's going on in the world of effect politically, but just where life has changed a lot, with death and illness and sickness and stuff of that nature that can take one out at the knees, if you will, at times. There's oftentimes when events such as this, life events happen, it's unexplainable in so many ways, and yet at the same time there's a depth of knowledge within us because of the journey that we've all been on in practicing this teaching that gives us the tools to navigate these events to the best of our ability, and to remember that we are energetic beings, and we can hold more than one idea at a time and use our energy in more than one way at a time, but also have the intent to always return back to being the one to know that what we seek is seeking us, and therefore our role as conscious awakened metaphysicians is to then choose to be and send out and to infect the world, for lack of a better term, but to reflect the quote, with love and generosity and patience. And really to begin with doing that with ourselves first. How do we do that? Well, I love this quote that we've used before in our morning text that says this: the alchemist is one who transforms all energies into higher frequencies of light and love. They're bringers of a new dawn, transmuting the old paradigms into a higher intelligence and order. They act solely for the highest good of all. Love is the only master they answer to. Why is this of importance? Because the concept of alchemy is taking the dark matter that exists in life, in this particular case, as we look at alchemy, is about putting it in a beaker, if you will, then putting heat on that, the energy that is the transformative energy, but doing it in just the right variation, if you will, frequency, if you will, vibration, so that it slowly transforms and transmutes that darkness to reveal what it is inherent with. And what's inherent with is gold. Whether one believes that that's true or not, it's a great example to remind each of us that you and I are alchemists through the way that we think and believe and act and react and interact with life itself. The awakened alchemist, if you will, according to this quote, and I will play with it, is one who transforms their energy, remembering that what we seek is seeking us and that all energy is contagious, into higher frequencies of light and love, meaning choosing to tune into light and love, which are qualities of the divine, as addressed earlier in our service, meaning that when we tune into our divine nature and radiate that, right, we're then bringing a new dawn meaning once the sun rises, the new day begins, which may be with that within a 24-hour period, but it's really more metaphorical to that new awakening, right? Then bringing that energy forth, magnetizing that energy, having that energy attract the same thing that we're emitting, and knowing that it's love, patience, and generosity, which is also that of light, living in God's healing truth, that while we're bringing that new dawn, we're then transmuting an old paradigm, meaning an old belief system and a practice of that belief system, into a higher intelligence and order. You and I have done that time and time and time again. That's why we have that foundation of consciousness, so that we can engage in these life events, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of high-mindedness, of knowing that we were prayed up, for lack of better terminology. And it's from that place of being prayed up that we have the capacity to meet these events in a place that it doesn't take us out completely. Right? And I'm not saying that from arrogance. It's just about understanding the evolution of mind itself and then using the journey that we've each been on of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening to take the next step in the journey and to address that which is within us and to seek those miracles and to know that those miracles exist and then to open our mind and our heart and our being to that which it is. Another way of saying that is what we're called here to be is love. To be awakened and to align our consciousness to the awareness that we're imbued with love, the self-givingness of spirit whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself. It can only do that through you and through me, and it's always doing that, but we get to experience more of that when we choose to align ourselves with its innate nature and to remember that the law of life is always responding to us by providing a corresponding experience in the moment as well as in the macro aspect of shifting life for us as we shift our consciousness. We can only shift our consciousness one thought at a time, one action at a time, one reaction and interaction at a time. We're here to be love. And then to build upon our understanding of love and the different stages of love and the different categories of love, which we've addressed every Sunday this month. But I'm going to readdress it here from the great David Hawkins, who has created the map of consciousness, and I'm a student of his, and know that many of you are as well, to look at love through the way that Hawkins defines it. He says love is misunderstood to be an emotion. Actually, it's a state of awareness, a way of being in the world. Be love, remember? A way of seeing oneself and others. And I'm going to say thank you, Dr. Hawkins, and to remember that when we forget to remember that, to forgive ourselves, and to then remember it again. To remember that love is misunderstood to be an emotion. It's a state of awareness. And so I want to play today with some of the words that brought me into this teaching initially, and I know many of you as well, and something that I keep reminding myself to live by day and moment by moment, which the traditional statement is change your thinking, change your life. And I'd like for us to fine-tune that as we wrap up this month to have a mantra in life that's this: change your awareness and change your life. Change your awareness. Hawkins is telling you that love is this state of awareness, that that's love, a state of awareness, a way of being in the world. And as you and I commit to changing our awareness and changing our life, then we can bring forward a new perspective. I had this visual pop up in my world this week, and it's a little crass. I'm going to share the visual with you. It's a beautiful bird on a beautiful limb with beautiful flowers. And the quote says this, and I'm not going to use the exact term, but I'm going to infer a word that you understand what it means. And the person is saying, I just want to live in a world, and Sandy, this is for you. I just want to live in a world where I don't have to say, what the F is wrong with you people every time I leave my house. I just love that, because that gives us the opportunity to change our awareness and change. It's just, we don't have to show up in life of going through life thinking, what the F is wrong with you people? And the reason that this brings great joy to my heart is because I have found myself of late having moments of being enraged. And I'm going to say there's been things that have happened out on the streets of West Hollywood that have caused that and have been justified to my behavior. But it's also not been good for me and those around me, because not only have I screamed what the is wrong with you people, but I've said it to individuals' faces. And if we want to have a private conversation where I can tell you all why, I'll do that. But what I remembering and preparing for today, and remembering after experiencing that this week, and after remembering that we're all on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, is to remember that when I choose to not be love, and to not remember that love is a state of awareness, and be willing to forgive myself in those moments when others have shown up that's caused me to say, what the F is going on with you based on their behavior. That we have the opportunity in those moments, whether it's literally a moment of a minute or two following those events, or 3 days later, whatever it is, I'm making that up, to stop, to take a deep breath, to remember that we already are love, to then choose to align our awareness to be love, and then to engage in the activity of our theme for the month. Love is happening through me. And it can be love as an emotion, self-love as forgiveness, love as the storgist love, friendship love, love as the sexual, sensual, erotic love. All those are important to have in our life. And then love as the agape love, the energy of the divine that's always there present for me. But to always remember that no matter what, it's there, not for us to acquire, but to be. And from that place of being it, then it has no other option but to magnify itself, because that's the nature of the energy of life that is indeed contagious. I came across this poem that I'm going to read about love that I think is fitting for this moment and what I've just shared as well. A surge of life pulled me from the dead. I gave up mental contamination and started building a spiritual foundation. The world all around me was falling down, and when it crumbled, I saw higher ground. Something happened. Something happened inside of me, and so I stepped into my true identity. Love that poem, because you and I all know that there are moments that we have that feeling of death, dead, darkness, if you will. I've had it 3 specific times in the last 5 days, unrelated to the deaths that have happened in my world of effect. And one was a horrible situation. I'll share it. I was coming out of the grocery store with my beloved 4-legged spiritual offspring, Sweeney. We crossed over into this little pathway at Pavilions, and out of nowhere, this homeless person, we're going to use that term, jumped into the sidewalk, grabbed Sweeney, opened her mouth, and stuck a chicken bone down her throat. The prettiest me didn't show up in that moment. I wasn't godly. I was quite vicious. Understandably, right? But once that energy comes out, something has to be done with that energy, right? We have to provide ourselves a space for healing. This poem is an example of what are our opportunities for the miracle. A surge of life pulled me from the dead. I gave up mental contamination and started building a spiritual foundation. The world around me was falling down. And remember, this can be a macro state of mind. It can also be a moment by moment. The world around me was falling down, and when it crumbled, I saw higher ground. Something happened. Something happened inside of me, and I stepped into my true identity. What is our true identity? That which is never failing, never leaving us, always present. Well, it's the divine you. The divine you is always here. It's known as divine love, and it's always awaiting us to activate it, to allow it, to align with it, and to know that it has no fear. It's fearless. It cannot have fear itself. And that we have within us our divine nature to be fearless in the context of having the willingness to open up and let it do its thing through us. I am peace, I am power, I am beauty, I am joy, I am light, I am love, I am wisdom. I'm calling in the light. That affirmation of calling in the light isn't literally calling it from the outside in. It's saying I'm calling in my awareness of that which I am imbued with. Love. And the others as well. But these qualities, they're the very essence of the divine that's within us, and it's also that which sees it in others. That's why we practice the act of namaste. That's why I say every Sunday morning to hear the literal translation of the Sanskrit word, namaste, is I bow to thee. I think it's so important for us to be willing to bow to thee, not in an act of supplication, but in an act of opening up, of having that miracle, of turning the other cheek, of being open to the new perspective, of giving ourselves a moment to catch our breath, to remember what we're imbued with, to remember the power and the presence of the thing itself that is everywhere in life, that which is infinite by nature, that's within the same spiritual DNA in the cosmos, that's the same DNA that's in you and me. And it's in that moment, that bowing, that retuning, if you will, of our awareness, that we then have a new opportunity before us to place our attention in a way that brings forth healing. Healing, as Dr. Ernest Holmes tells us, is the revealing of wholeness and oneness. It's that realignment with our divine nature. The great Joe Dispenza addresses it in this ways of how we are to activate this awareness. He goes, if you put your attention and energy on the relationship with the divine, then as your attention on it expands, there should be more of its intelligence available to you in your life. It makes perfect sense. Because it's really the foundation. Dispenza's telling us kind of the foundation of how we teach in this philosophy, faith, and way of life. The fundamentals of our philosophy, the fundamentals of our spiritual truth, the fundamentals of what we're taught to believe, that the more we allow it to be present through our attention and our awareness, the more of it we will experience. Why? Because we're eliminating any barriers that are there. And to remember that it's not something we have to create. It's something for us to reveal. As the great Glenda the Good Witch told us, you've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. One of the things that I'm realizing on my 65 years of walking this planet, well, probably 8 months of it or 9 months of it, I crawled it. And there's even been times I've been dancing on it instead of walking, but you get the gist, is that learning and that remembering that we had the power all along is part of the process, is to keep remembering it. And then when we forget, to remember it again. And then when we can't remember that we have it, to then reach out to someone that can support us and guide us in those moments. And also be willing to do that for others. And to know that this power that is within us that we've had all along. Just had a moment of remembering it. One of my teachers that used to teach us, the great Dr. David Walker, who I believe is an angel wing on my shoulder all the time, used to use the Bible quote of, please bring back to me the remembrance of that which I am. I'm paraphrasing that quote. I love that quote, and I love that memory, and I love believing and looking back on those times when that made great sense to me, learning it the first time and remembering. But in this moment, I'd like to use the quote from the great Wayne Dwyer, Dr. Wayne Dwyer, about this activity of choosing to align with that which we are imbued with. Thank you, Glenda the Good Witch, our power. And Dwyer writes this, our connection to the infinite has always beckoned us. We only have to move beyond the barriers that we've created to a blissful, empowering view and experience of reality, uppercase realities. Well, what could those barriers be that we all have? They may be less than they've ever been before. They may be more than they've ever been before, because it is an active experience of life, experiencing life and being engaged in our awakening, our spiritual awakening on this journey of finding personal self-empowerment. And reflecting back on them, personally, I think they can be disbelief. They can be that we've forgotten. They can be old patterns that have taken up root in our being. And there can be fear. And they can be the fear of our fear of changing. It's important to remember that we're expressing life on more than one level at all times. And yes, while we teach, there's only one thing happening. There's many different dimensions of that one thing happening to us and through us. In a most recent exploration of what the infinite means in preparing for today, I read from a book called The Impersonal Life by Joseph S. Benner, who addresses this concept of understanding the dimensions of life in this kind of fundamental, basic way. Benner writes, every one of us has both a personal self as well as an impersonal self to our being. Your personal self or your personality is being directed at all times by your mind and your five senses, fight or flight, the situation with the chicken bone, among many others, right? That's the personal aspect of myself. And then there's the impersonal. Thank you, Joseph Benner. And he goes, when you approach your life from your impersonal self, it's an opportunity to free yourself now and forever from the unhealthy and limiting domination of your personality, which is self-inflated and often self-sabotaging mind and intellect. Anyone ever had a moment, maybe in the last 7 days, last 5 days, last 5 weeks, last 5 years, of where your self-sabotaging mind comes into play, where your self-inflated ego wants to have its way at the betterment of letting your wisdom guide you? Benner goes on to write, in contrast to your personal self, there's also an impersonal self that is with you for every moment of your existence. Now, hear that again. In contrast to your personal self, there's also an impersonal self that is with you for every moment of your existence. This impersonal self is not your intellect, not your ego, and not your body. It's the invisible intelligence that animates all of life. It's responsible for all of your deepest desires. It allows your fingernails to grow, your heart to beat, and it's the force that supports all of life everywhere. This week, we've bared witness through our thinking of knowing that those that we love and have loved us. And last week as well with our beloved Sherry Robb, that's moved on, and this energy that has forced their fingernails to grow and their heart to beat has left their physicality. What do we know and believe and think about this energy, this force? Benner goes on to write that to appreciate the presence of this force, you must get away from the consciousness of your body and intellect, which have long held you enslaved. Today, I invite all of us to release ourselves from the enslavement of any old idea of being bound by our body, while at the same time appreciating our personal self. It's what allows us to be this stamp of individuality that's expressing the impersonal self on this planet, and to honor those that have moved on to the great beyond, even as we are feeling the loss and the what ifs and the whys, and make a commitment to ourselves to be the change, the changing of our awareness of being love, and ultimately changing our life. And to remember that we can hold more than one idea at a time, and we can be in grief, we can be in sadness, and we can be in happiness, and we can be in joy, and we can be in sorrow, and we can be in deep appreciation. And we can be love. This quote tells us that love is a gentle caring, a quiet concern deeply hidden in the heart, a presence always felt every day, every minute, every hour. Today, as we close out this month, I invite you to choose to be love with yourself in an ever-evolving way. Oftentimes, I participate in marriage ceremonies or commitment ceremonies and counseling, and I always use this writing from the great Anne Morrow Lindbergh from the book The Gifts of C as an invitation and an instruction for individuals as they come together to make a commitment in their life. To use these beautiful words as a reminder of how to love others and to be conscious and awake and alert in a relationship. Today I'm going to read it to you, inviting us to use it as a guide for our relationship with ourselves, and to be more gentle with ourselves, no matter what's unfolded leading up to this very moment. And when it speaks of loving someone, let's let it be our loving ourselves. Here's what Ms. Morrow Lindbergh writes. When you love someone, you do not love them all the time in exactly the same way from moment to moment. It's an impossibility. It's even a lie to pretend to. And yet, this is exactly what most of us demand. We have so little faith in the ebb and flow of life, of love, of relationships. We leap at the flow of the tide and resist terror, its ebb. We were afraid it will never return. We insist on permanency, on duration, on continuity, when the only continuity possible in life, as in love, is in growth, in fluidity, in freedom, in the sense that the dancers are free, barely touching as they pass, but partners in the same pattern. The only real security is not in owning or possessing, not in demanding or expecting, not even in hoping, even. Security in a relationship lies neither in looking back to what was in nostalgia, not forward to what might be in dread or anticipation, but living in the present relationship and accepting it as it is now. As it is now. As I'm looking into the camera and mirrored back to me on the screen as myself, as I look at myself, I'm looking at my very personal self. My face is sagging in places, my hair is going gray, I have wrinkles I didn't have before. And yet, the impersonal self is still that heartbeat. And would I trade where I am today for any other day? No. Because of Anne Morrow Lindbergh, what she just shared with us by means of me reading it to you, reminds me that all that we have is now. And in this now moment, and I'm saying this to myself, inviting you to hear it for yourself, saying it to yourself, is to get detached from all the crap and forgive ourselves from going through life wondering what the F is going on out there. And when we have those moments, to reflect back inward and be gentle with ourselves and loving with ourselves and give ourselves the freedom to not be limited in the way that we love ourselves. Hawkins, great David Hawkins, tells us that the attachment to love is really the trap, not love itself, and the barrier to enlightenment. We all seek enlightenment, and so today let's let go of any attachment that we have as to how love is to show up. And to tune in to the miracle, just as we referenced, that was over Melissa's left shoulder, of what's possible in life. And then to remember that just as it was said over the right shoulder, remember that you're right where you're supposed to be on this path of life. I'm paraphrasing that quote. And to remember that no matter what, no matter where, no matter how, you are indeed love. Life's one vital energy. And so let's cleanse the past, clear out the opening for the future, and live engaging in this closing quote by the great William Blake. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to the human as it is, infinite. For the human has closed himself up till they see all things through narrow chinks of his cavern. Now, obviously, Blake didn't say human, he wrote man, but that speaks to the evolution we've all been in. It makes more sense to hear it as the human. So I'm going to reread this quote and then say, and so it is, knowing that the quote itself, amended, is engaging in each and every one of our willingness to have our perception cleansed right now. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to the human as it is, infinite. For the human has closed himself up till they see all things through narrow chinks of their cavern. Today, you and I have cleansed our perception, and we're using it the only way that we can, remembering that that energy is contagious. It's magnetizing. That which we seek is not only seeking us, but is present now. Thanks. And so it is. Melissa's going to come back and sing us another song.
Yes, I am. I've taken a step back, and I think now I can see sometimes the things we think we want, well, they just aren't meant to be. It's starting to come together, it's finally making sense. Things happen for a reason, there's nothing left to chance. I'm give up control, surrender to what's meant to be. Yeah. Breathe in this life. Yeah. Well, now the tighter you hold and the harder you try to figure it out, to understand why, is the more time you lose and the more you miss out on what's most important, what life is all about. So go on, breathe in your life, let it all go, relax, learn to just be. Take it all in, give up control, surrender to what's meant to be. Yeah. Breathe in your life. Patience is a must, have a little faith and learn to trust. Open your eyes, you'll see. Yeah. You can't fall far, 'cause right where you are, it's exactly where you need to be. Yeah. So on, breathe in this life, let it all go, relax, learn to just be. Yeah. Take it all in, give up control, surrender to what's meant to be. Breathe in your life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Breathe in your life. Breathe in your life.
Breathe in your life and breathe in your love.
There you go.
Thank you, my love, for being here today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So wonderful. So
Good.
wonderful. How are the girls doing?
Embrace that gray.
I'm doing it, baby. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Well, thank you. Thank you. I know you'll come back to sing Let There Be Peace at the end, but thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Travis and to Robert for taking care of us in their own ways as well. Thank you to each one of you for being here today. And I'm affirming for all of us that on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, that has indeed happened today. And we are reconnecting to the great power within all of us and remembering that we've had it all along. Feel free to check us out on our website, CSL-LA.org. There you can also make a donation to support our community and our ministry. And it's deeply appreciated, as well as you can do that through the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Our weekly e-newsletter goes out this week. You can sign up for that on our App Store. You can find that information on our website and through our app in the App Store as well. And a new thought text for the day and midweek morning meditation on Wednesday. That's going to be it. We're going to sign off for the day. Melissa's going to come back on after I do a little spiritual mind treatment for us. And she's there. You can stay on there and do Let There Be Peace on Earth. And then after that, we'll say goodbye to those of you on YouTube. And if you're on Zoom and would like to stay on and say a brief hello, we can do that. And so I invite you to close your eyes wherever you may be, if that's comfortable and safe for you, and to remember that the infinite power of life is. And that our words have power. And as I use my words right now, I affirm for each one of us that we remember who we are as divine beings. And we remember that love is contagious, as the self-givingness of spirit, as a state of awareness, as an energy, and as an emotion. We let all of the aspects of love show up in our heart right now. And we see ourselves embracing ourselves and loving ourselves in a new way. As well as we then extend this love energetically and in a contagious manner to Charlene and to my family and to Woody and Charlene and Woody as they move on and to the next dimension, transmuting and transforming themselves. And we do so for all the loved ones who've experienced loss this week, and just allow them through our intent to be embraced and surrounded and immersed in the love that is the divine itself. And so inasmuch as we don't always know why, what we do remember is that we have the ability to create a shift in our life. And that's in how we remember who we are, how willing we are to forgive, and how willing we are to open to the miracle itself. That happens for us, through us, and as us right now. We are prepared, we are strengthened, and we're ready to grow, glow, and flow as the only thing there is, spirit. And so it is. When we sing, "Let there be peace on earth," let's know that it has indeed begun with us. Melissa, take us away.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And it indeed has begun with each one of us. And we know that it's there and